hear that sizzle. Delicious. We started out with melted butter. Now this is a 1/4 cup all-purpose flour. I used 1 whole stick of melted butter. And give this a quick stir. Get it all nice and creamy. We're gonna make a roux right now. We're gonna start with a roux. Then we're gonna take this beautiful IPA. Don't worry if you are uncomfortable cooking with beer, because the alcohol will immediately cook out. But if you're uncomfortable cooking with beer, you could always use non-alcoholic beer or beef or chicken stock. But this is gonna be for game day purposes. Out here, we love football, Raider Nation. And so we're gonna add just a little bit of beer. I'm using an IPA, a light IPA. You don't want to use something too dark. It might not blend well. Does anybody have any idea what I could be making that's going to start with a roux and some beer? If you guessed it, that's right. We're going to make beer cheese. Beer cheese is a game day favorite. And then we're going to add some beef broth. If you don't have beef, you could use chicken. I like using the beef though because I think that it adds a really, really nice hearty flavor with the beer and with the cheese. See how this is all coming together real nice? All right, now we're gonna let that keep going for a second. Next, we are going to add some cheddar cheese soup, the condensed kind. You could use Velveeta, but I like using this one. It has everything we need as far as the flavor impact. All right, we got that going. Deliciousness. I have actually never had beer cheese until I moved to Las Vegas. And one of the places that I used to work at here in Las Vegas used to serve it, and I tasted it, and I was an instant fan. Love the stuff. Now don't think that we're gonna stop at that one little can of cheese soup. No, 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 no. No siree, my loves. We're gonna get going with some good stuff here. Okay, let's turn it up a little bit. So it's gotten a little thick, so let's add a little bit more beer to it. Again, if you're not a big fan of beer, use chicken stock or beef stock. I wouldn't use just plain up water. You're gonna wanna use something that's gonna give it some body and some flavor. Now this beer stands up to cheese deliciously. But, okay, so now we got that part. We're going to add our dry seasonings, some ground mustard. I'm going to give it a good hefty shake, but if you're a measurer, I would say go with like a 1/2 teaspoon. I like a little bit of heat, not a lot of heat, just a little bit. So I'm going to add just a few. See, when I say a few, I mean just a few. A lot of you might say that's not even enough, but it'll add flavor. Just that little bit will add some flavor to it. It really will. Next, we're going to add a little bit of minced garlic, about a 1/2 spoonful. Give it a nice little stir again. Now, you should add the mustard. I added the ground mustard. The ground mustard is also there to give it a nice flavor profile. It goes well with cheese, delicious with cheese. Next, we are going to add a little bit of salt. I'm a kind of person who, I don't really like to go from can to pan. I like it to go into my hand so that I can decide how much I want. Let's see. And like that. Again, remember, when you're using the pink salts and sea salts, that stuff can get very, very salty really quick. So you only want to use a little bit. All right. Look at how beautiful this is coming together. It's going to be so delicious. And don't worry, parents out there, the alcohol in the beer has already cooked away. It cooks away in a matter of seconds. Now we're going to add some pepper. I like to go heavy on the pepper. Pepper is my jam. If it's your jam too, then go heavy. If it's not, you don't have to worry about it. I mean, I would add a little bit, but you don't have to add as much as I'm adding because I'm going to go pepper heavy. Look at that. Mm-hmm. You're going to want to keep stirring it while it's over the heat so that you don't get lumps. Next, we are going to add my favorite and yours, bacon. You could totally not use bacon, but the bacon gives a great flavor. A delicious, comes out so cheesy and creamy. Okay, now that I have it all nice and incorporated, I can stop using the whisk and get to my handy dandy spatula. Make sure when you're using a spatula that you use a heat-free spatula. You don't want your plastic to melt in your food. Next, we are going to do the cheeses. I'm going to do a whole pound of sharp cheddar and a whole pound of, where's my wrapper at? Of Monster with the orange rind, a whole pound of it. Now, this trick for beer cheese this next step is really important. Do not use the pre-shredded cheese. When you use the pre-shredded cheese, they put something, the factories, they put something on the cheese to like make it not clump up together like this, you see? So you will want to use a cheese that's off the block so that for the melting purposes. And like I said, I'm using a Munster and a sharp cheddar. I've already pre-shredded it. I just put it in a food processor. I make my life super easy. And we're going to just add this cheese to it. Don't forget about the Munster. I like using a combination of soft white cheese that's mild and then the sharp cheddar. That is a really good combination. Now we're going to give this a stir. Kind of get all this melted down in there. It's only going to take a few minutes, y'all. Next, we are going to add 1 block of, is it upside down? Oh no, it's right. Philadelphia cream cheese. Now, for a dip like this, for beer cheese, I would not skip and go with the generic brand. I mean, you could if you wanted to. It's always an option. But the flavor of Philadelphia cream cheese is really, really good. And so you really do want it to be flavorful for your family, your loved ones when you're feeding them. Okay, now see how it's starting to get a little bit thick? This is where I'm going to add a little bit more beer. Just a little, just a dab will do ya. Okay, and last but not least, now we've already added the cheese, the bacon, cream cheese. That's going to give it a nice, amazing, ooey gooey flavor. But last but not least, we are going to add, I chopped up this is 1 bunch of green onions. So maybe like 3 green onions all together. we're gonna just give this a quick little stir. All right, go ahead and take it off the heat. Don't worry about all the cheese being melted just yet. Don't worry. I know it looks like a hot mess. But don't trust the process. Trust the process. Okay, so we're gonna leave that there for a second. Now we're gonna come right over here and bump it up. We have this beautiful bread bowl. This is a cottage rye made by my friend at my restaurant. Her name is Elle Bakes. She made this for me. It is a sourdough and rye combination, and I already tasted the inside. Delicious. And thank you so much, Elle, for making this for me. Okay, so now we take this ooey gooey mess and we start just filling up your bread bowl. And we're gonna fill it all the way, get all of this stuff nice and in there. I'm telling you, this is always a game day pleaser. The holidays are gonna be coming up soon and people like to entertain, and this is a perfect way to just have, this is like a little appetizer on the table. You can cut the bread into like these little, into strips. I didn't do it, but you could. And then when you bake it, it'll kind of like bloom like a blooming onion. And then your guests can kind of just all take it. You can already see the ooey gooey factor that's going to be here. You see that? It is going to be so delicious. All right. Now, I would suggest for presentation purposes, when you're doing it at home, overfill it. Because these little gooeys of cheese are going to kind of like ooze out and be so delicious. Okay, so see how it, right there. Now we're going to take our last little bit more cheese and just kind of crumble it everywhere. I am looking forward to this. Like I said, it's a great game day crowd pleaser. So you pop it in the oven at 400 just until all of the cheese starts to melt and become all bubbly, and then it'll be done. We'll come back and show you in a little bit. Bum-ba-da-bum. Look at how delicious this is. See what I mean when I said that it's going to overflow? That's why you want to put it in a nice pan. It is going to be so delicious. The cheese has got that good crispiness to it. Don't forget that we added the bacon and the green onions. So, since I like to use the beer cheese dip as a game, like when I am doing like hosting game day parties. So what I also like to do is I take the top of it, when I cut it and I hollow it out, I save it and I keep it and I cube it up, and I like to just keep it around for the presentation. Then you can add toothpicks right next to it. Then they can put a toothpick and go ahead and dip. Make sure you let all your guests know that there are no double dipping around here. But look at how gorgeous that looks. Fun. You could use carrots and celery. You could use, what are they called? Not taco chips, but tortilla chips. All kinds of stuff. It would be, this stuff, cheese is delicious with almost everything. So again, if you try it out, don't be afraid to use the beer at home. Make sure that if you're a beer drinker, that you use a beer that you're going to like to taste. And the beer, all the alcohol completely cooks out of it. So it's delicious, semi-nutritious, and I hope that when you try it at home, that you enjoy.